I've always been really drawn to the Super Smash Bros. Series, and it's hard to pinpoint exactly why. When I brought home the original as a kid and popped it into my Nintendo 64, I remember being thrilled at being able to select from the wide range of characters. I realize that the 12 character roster in Smash 64 seems like nothing nowadays, but hey, it was a big deal as a kid. Not only did the game include some of my favorite video game characters at the time, but it also gave me the ability to choose exactly who I wanted to play as at that moment. This was super exciting because in most games I played at the time, I was locked in as the default player character, and that was it. I loved having the choice, and what I also loved was being introduced to brand new characters I was not yet familiar with. Before playing Smash Bros., I knew about characters like Mario, Pikachu, and Donkey Kong, but the game served as my introduction to many other characters such as Link, Samus, and Kirby. As I experimented with these characters, I grew curious about their origins. I knew them on a surface level. Link was the sword guy. I knew Samus as the robot with the big charge shot. But it ended there. It turns out that these characters that I was using daily, I actually knew nothing about. The mystique of these unknown characters only grew, and as I grew a bit older and got a GameCube, I discovered Super Smash Bros. Melee. Melee introduced me to a much wider roster than the original game. I remember being blown away at finally being able to control other familiar characters like Bowser and Princess Peach. The Melee character select was like a brand new playground, giving me a bigger selection of characters to mess around with. As I spent an increasing amount of hours with Melee, I started to unlock some of the hidden characters, and I was blown away at many a warning challenger approaching screen and dark silhouette. Dr. Mario, Falco, Marth and Roy, Mr. Game & Watch. Super Smash Bros. Served as my introduction to several members of Nintendo's all-star cast of characters. And as the years went by, and I accumulated more and more video games, I started to explore the worlds that these Smash Bros. Characters actually belonged to. As a kid, when I visited a video game store, and a particular box art caught my eye, I would often make my purchase decision by saying, "Ooh, I want to play the Link game, or the Fox game, or the Samus game." Each character's inclusion in Smash led me to trying classic game after classic game. I got Ocarina of Time due to my curiosity in Link. I picked up Metroid Fusion due to my fascination with Samus, and so on and so forth. All of this stemmed from my introduction to each character in Smash Bros. Fast forward to 2021, and the current Smash Bros. Game is called Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The game lives up to its name, truly being the ultimate Smash Bros. Experience. Ultimate's roster contains every fighter the series has ever introduced, along with a handful of new additions. In fact, the roster's not yet even finished, as new fighters are being periodically added to the game as DLC. Today, when I turn on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I look at the roster and think back to my childhood self. I think about how blown my young mind would be at 83 unique characters and counting. Kids nowadays have it so good. As an adult, I'm looking at the Super Smash Bros. Character roster with a different perspective. One that is fueled by the same sense of curiosity that characters like Captain Falcon, Dr. Mario, and Ganondorf inspired in me back in the day. When it comes to Ultimate's huge roster, I still wonder who some of the characters are, where they come from, and what each of their game worlds is truly like. This is the thought process that inspired me to take up this challenge. During the past year, my social life, like most people's across the globe, has been pretty limited due to the ongoing pandemic. I've had more time than I typically do to play video games. I've always played games here and there, regardless of the situation of the world, but this year more than ever, I've had the time to explore more new games than ever before. With the recent inclusion of Final Fantasy VII's Sephiroth to the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster, I felt this curiosity swelling inside me. He looks like a cool fighter, but who exactly is Sephiroth? From what I've gathered on the internet, people are, for the most part, happy about Sephiroth's inclusion. But I've never played Final Fantasy VII, so I don't have a strong feeling either way. Maybe if I played the game, I could actually understand and feel the same sense of joy others are feeling about his inclusion in Smash. This got me thinking. Since I consider Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in particular a celebration of gaming history, why don't I use the roster of characters as a tool to educate myself, particularly using it to fill in gaps in my personal gaming history? I came up with a challenge for myself. I want to play and complete the game each character on the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster comes from. Now, it's not like I'm particularly Nintendo illiterate. Playing games is one of my favorite hobbies, and especially playing Nintendo games. I mean, all I currently have right now when it comes to systems are Switch, 3DS, and Wii U. And I've played on Nintendo platforms all my life, so it's not like I'm starting from ground zero here. I have a pretty good start on this whole challenge. So this leads me to my first step in the process. Finding out where I currently am, what I have left to accomplish, and where exactly I should start. To figure this out, I recorded all the data from my head into a trusty old Google Sheet. First, I copied over the entire roster to the spreadsheet. All 83 characters, including Echo Fighters and DLC. Currently, the list ends with Sephiroth, as he's the most recent fighter as of the recording of this video, but I plan to add any additional characters as they get released. Next, I determined the game series each character is from, and after that, I filtered out any characters from games that I have previously beat. I highlighted those characters in green, essentially marking them as complete. Now when I say I beat these games, I'm going to classify that as rolling the credits at least once. I know that for some of these games, Animal Crossing and Minecraft in particular, there doesn't appear to be clear endpoints. So instead of trying to roll credits on games like this, I'm going to aim to get a strong baseline of familiarity with the game, if I haven't already. For all the characters who I did not check off in green, I added the game I plan to play in the next column. A lot of these games I already own, just have never beaten. Due to this, some of the games chosen are not my ideal picks, but I wanted to keep things as affordable as possible. Speaking of this, I also added the platform the game was on and the price, so I could get an approximation on how much this was actually going to end up costing me. The final estimate cost of all the games on the list that I didn't already own ended up being $652. Well, if I can end up borrowing a copy of Fire Emblem for the GameCube, I can end up saving around $150 of that right there. Luckily, I do have some friends who are probably willing to help me out by lending me some physical copies of stuff, so the financial damage might not turn out to be that bad after all. And since we're on the topic of finance, and as they say, time is money, I also looked up the estimated time to completion for all the games I still needed to play. Now I have an estimate on how much of my life I'm actually going to waste on this challenge, and that's about 627 hours. Well, this is including Minecraft, and apparently beating the Elder Dragon counts as completing the game, and apparently that takes about 124 hours, so yeah, I know next to nothing about Minecraft right now, so feel free to correct me down in the comments if that's wrong, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Minecraft or not, this is a pretty intimidating time investment. 627 hours is like 26 full days. 26 full days of gaming with Nintendo and friends. That's pretty insane to think about, but it's all in perspective. I've put in over 100 hours in several long RPGs, and that alone is like almost a sixth of the total time right there. And that's not even counting the 300 hours I put into New Horizons in just a few months, so realizing that, it makes the time investment seem a little less scary. Don't get me wrong, the time investment's still pretty large, but I don't think it's insurmountable, especially if I'm going to be playing video games in my free time anyways. I think this challenge is worth giving a shot, and I'm not giving myself any sort of time limit, so there's no need for me to rush. I can take my time with each game and slowly chip away at the list over probably the next couple years. With the inclusion of all characters, games, prices, and times to completion, I finally have all the data I need to start my quest. Oh, and also, I thought it would be fun to tackle the list in random order, by rolling and re-rolling a random Smash Ultimate character picker until I land on a character whose game I still need to play. It seems like that would be sort of a fun way to pick, a Nintendo game Russian roulette. As of recording this, I'm already in the middle of playing Earthbound, which is one of the games on the list, so I'm already making some progress. On a side note, I'll most likely have a video out soon with my thoughts on the game, so check that out if you're interested. However, out of both curiosity and impatience, I rolled random on my next 2 games already. I got King K. Rool and Richter Belmont. This means that I'll soon be playing the original Donkey Kong Country and a Castlevania game. Since I have no experience with that series, I think I'll just swap Richter for Simon for now, and play the original NES version to get the full experience of the series. Like I mentioned with Earthbound, I'll be documenting my time with some of my favorite games from this challenge in my upcoming retrospective series, so stay tuned for that. If you're interested in taking up this challenge as well, or if you have any pointers for me on how to best experience these games, feel free to let me know in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you want to know my thoughts on the games that I play, and updates on all of my progress. So that's all. After a bit of planning, I'm all set to go on this Smash Bros. Roster Game Completion Challenge. I'm definitely excited to get started, and I want to thank you for taking your time to watch this video.